Hello and welcome to Divorce Discussions. And today I have a lady that is so accomplished. I'm so honored to have her on here, Vivianne Winters Israel. And she actually, I'm going to read this because I don't want
Sure.
to mess anything up. Vivianne is a registered nurse. She is a mom. She's a motivational speaker, a published author. She's got a bunch of things. I'm going to just highlight some. She has been awarded the Benjamin Franklin Silver Award in nonfiction literature. She's been an Amazon bestseller. She's authoring a children's book series, and she has been had acknowledgments with the American Bibliographical what
Biographical.
Bio,
Biographical Institute. Those long
Biographical
words.
Institute's Golden Lifetime Achievement Award. That's just fantastic. And why could I not say biographical? It's just the oddest thing. Anyhow, thank you so much for being on here, Vivianne. And it's just really incredible to have you here. So I know that's all the things you do. And
Mhm.
all the awards you've won, but there's something really important that you do to help women, and that is to work around this idea of empowered self-care. So, how did you get into that particular area?
Well, it's interesting and it's recent how I got into this. Um, I am authoring a children's book series. Actually, it'll be four series, but the first one will be for like middle grade children, age 9 to 12. And in reaching out to find out what teachers would be wanting in a teacher parenting resource guide, because the books will be to help children work through the increased social emotional challenges that we've had since pandemic. And they'll be across international settings. But I wanted to know what the teachers, to help the teachers and to help the students, what kind of things should be in there that will, I know what I think should be in there for the students, but what would the teachers be looking for? And as I started researching challenges that would teachers were having, because I know I've come to learn that the curricula is ridiculous these days, I was absolutely horror struck by what all our teachers are going through. The overworked, overwhelmed, taking away their personal time. They're being attacked on all sides. you know, it's depending on where they teach, going to work isn't even safe.
Right.
So it's like, I need to do something for these teachers
Yeah.
because it's going to be like 2 years before the first book of the first trilogy comes out. And so I thought, well, what could I do? Well, I'm 70. I've been through several life crises, medical, physical, financial, divorce. Um, and I have been through them without any self-care tools, with one very powerful self-care tool, and with multiple self-care tools. Of course, back then I didn't even know what those really were,
Right.
but I come to identify these. And I thought, okay, well, teachers need this. And then well, people are homeschooling. That's been a big rising over the last X years. But since the pandemic, yeah, that's changing because of how things are. So if I need to be speaking to them, well, then they're just the plain parents, whether plain parents that aren't homeschooling, but they're still recovering, dealing with all this stuff. And their little ones, their kiddos need help. So I thought, okay, I just need to put on my big girl panties and get out there and figure out how to speak to folks about the differences of going through a crisis with and without, to inspire them that now is the time to start exploring these things, because
Right.
you need to practice them for them to become second nature to you, so that if the proverbial poo hits the fan and you're drop kicked into a crisis, that they're there for you.
Yeah. And
They need to
so,
be called up. You will access them more easily having been in practice.
right. Oh, I love this idea. And as I was a teacher for years and years in Canada, and then I moved down here to the States, and I got down here in Texas, and I went, oh hell no, I'm getting out of the teaching game down here. There's no way. And I was talking to, as a matter of fact, I was speaking with a group of teachers out in Los Angeles at Los Angeles Unified School District, and
Huh.
I happened to just run into them, and I was talking to them, and two of those teachers told me they have two side jobs. They're doing Ubers, and they're doing delivery, like food
Yep.
deliveries,
Yes.
because
Okay.
their teaching salary based on where they live and the
Mhm.
cost of commuting and living in a big city like that, they have to have two other side jobs. And
Oh
that's
yeah.
just crazy, you know.
It is crazy. And their work as a teacher is just insanely harder than it
And
used
they,
to be.
but
So
it's work from the
they
heart.
need,
It's work
yeah,
from the,
they do.
like
They work from the
nursing.
heart, and
Yeah.
often they work from their pocketbook too,
Yeah.
in that they don't have the resources that they want for the things they want to offer to their students, so they pay for it themselves.
Right. But you were a
And
nurse, so you did the
yeah.
same thing, I'm guessing. You know, you put
Oh
that
yeah.
extra hour and those extra that you know that extra stress and those extra shifts and everything else to make that go. So could you talk a little bit about what are some of the tools, because I am in complete agreement with you. You can't be, you know, in the middle of a stressful situation and say, damn it, I've got to meditate right now. Like that's not the way we work, right? So what are some of the or what are some of the strategies or the resources or the ideas that you can kind of float out there for people to maybe consider? How could they start building that into their life now?
Absolutely, because as I started exploring these, I looked at meditation, and some people have, a hard time with, am I doing it? And guided ones can help, and I've used a number of those and love them and still use them. But I had unexpectedly come across what I now consider an empowered self-care tool, um, several months before my cancer diagnosis. And I was using it to for consciousness engineering to expand my, mental faculties to be able to process more because I'm a lifelong learner and there's many things that fascinate and interest me. So, I need to be able to read faster, hang on to more, not have it float out my brain. Um, so I had started this a particular audio technology, specialized recordings called Holosync. And I had started that many months before my unexpected cancer diagnosis. But I've been using this daily. Now, when that diagnosis came, I happened to be at work and I wasn't doing critical care things in the hospital anymore. I was doing emergency response nursing. But I'm getting a call. No prelude, hi, oh, Viv, there's a call for you. It's biopsy results from the doctor's office. You have metastatic breast cancer.
Oh
Well,
my
that was a slap
goodness.
in the face.
Yeah,
I hope I don't get a death-defying call in the next couple of minutes because, I got to process here for a little bit. But what was very different, and I was a while before I understood what was different about this. This was not only like the physical crushing injury I had 11 years earlier, where it was going to impact me financially, well, healthfully, and what am I going to be able to? Can I walk? What am I going to be able to do? Not do? Can I work? I was determined to work again, but this time it was not only, okay, how am I going to take care of my daughter? Because it's just she and I, since she was 13 months old years ago, 40 years ago. And how am I going to take care of her? And I need to just be. I need to be. I was scared, but I was able to process. I thought, okay, I need to wrap my brain around this first before I can even tell my daughter. It was just the two of us, but I was worried about that. But not only that, my prognosis was very bad. I was 0 for 7, premenopausal still at age 52, go figure. I was only going to be able to get half of the treatment. And as nasty as my cancer was, and only getting half the treatment, even with higher doses of the chemo and the radiation, they weren't sure they could keep me above ground. So there was that. So I had to have some ability in that my own before I could start speaking to my daughter about it.
sure.
But with all that, I was not stuck in fear that time, as I had been 11 years earlier with no self-care tool. Also, the fear didn't feel as dark, as dismal as this was sounding. Wasn't as dark. And I got to start finding out more information, recover from the shock and no awe of the call.
Right.
But I needed to find more information. So I went about that. And I thought, what is it that's so different about this time? Because last time I was frightened. I was in ridiculous pain. And I was frightened. And I eventually, by pure cussedness and determination, got back to work. But, it was about a year. But 20 minutes into that shift, it was like, holy cow, my body can't handle this. I was literally sweating bullets over stuff that was physically way less than what I normally do for 12 hours a day. But it took me that experience before my mind opened to other possibilities of other things I could do without my income going down and risk not being able to take care of my daughter. I didn't have that time with the cancer diagnosis. So what was its difference? It took me a while to figure out that it was that audio technology that I had been using for several months was baked into my operating system. It had become second nature to me. And it wasn't one that I needed to call up. Need to take a little bit of time here, try meditate, center myself. I didn't even need to do that. It just showed up.
Right.
It was on autopilot. It was amazing. And I thought, once I figured out that that was what the difference was, it's like, I got to find more of these. What's some other stuff? So I
Right.
explored meditation, different types of meditation, and went through am I doing it right? And all this stuff. But over time, I discovered a couple more. Another one they're called paraliminals. It's another type of specialized multi-layered recording, but it also has holosync frequencies in there. And I thought, okay, yes, I'm trying this because I know and love the holosync frequencies. So there's like a entire library of those to choose from for many different life instances. And
Okay.
they're, pardon me, 20-minute of recordings. Need to use the stereo headphones, as with the holosync. It can't be monaural because
Right.
these are binaural recordings, and they sort of worm drive your brain frequencies down to more learning. You soak up stuff and you're more open to stuff. And so there's many different types of those you can do. So that's a little 20-minute thing. But if you're doing that on a regular basis or sampling from some of them regularly, it ends up being there for you as well. Now, that is one that when I had to go through my pandemic layoff, 3.5 years ahead of when I had planned to retire, and had promised myself that that was my last job because I've been working since I was 3. I want a few decades to play.
Right.
Um, those paraliminals, that was my self-care tool of choice to go after. And within an hour from when had been like kicked off the island, dismissed, I was already making lists of, ideas, strategies, and an email came about a class that was just synchronistically amazing. Signed up for the class. The next morning, another thing about a class that was synchronistically amazing, signed up for the class. Honestly, I have been surfing a wave of synchronicity since that time. And we're here
Wow.
just a little over 3.5 years later. It's wild and busy, crazy, but it's also perfect.
So can I
So
ask you, Vivian, like the
paraliminals.
paraliminals, I'm going to write that down. Um, are they are they like tones, or is it music, or is it like a guided meditation, or what is it to listen
It
to?
is actually all of that.
Okay.
They are certain tones laid in with layers of frequencies, the
Okay.
holistic frequencies, also with specially designed music.
Okay.
So there's like 4 to 5 different tracks woven together.
Okay.
So when you get them and download a little one's like, whoa, that's a lot of things. But it's it's a layering. You need the layering.
Okay.
And they're very powerful. They're very powerful. I love them. And the free downloadable I have for your audience has a list of the 6 most powerful self-care resources that I have learned of and use.
Oh, thank you. This sounds
Yes,
fantastic. Thank
with
you.
with links to detailed information about each. So they'll resonate with at least one of them, but they can
Right.
go explore what they do. These are not affiliate links. Actually, there's one called Laser Focus Process. And the access to that is free. Dr. Paul Sheely, who developed it, teaches it, 5 short videos over 5 days, the different aspects of it. And then once you have all those and start working them together, you can get out of your head and into your body, relaxed, physiologically, neurochemically centered in 90 seconds or less.
Wow. Now, can you
90
imagine
seconds.
how great
And
that would
see,
be?
yes, well, it is great. I've been using it for years. He is my adult learning mentor, and we've been using these, on breaks in classes for years. And I have, talked to different nurses professionals about it, but he has he has it down to a science,
Yeah.
a process of teaching it, and he is the person to learn it from. And there is another one that I only learned of last year from an amazing educator who is also an associate of Dr. Sheely. And it's called AWE, AWE.
Okay.
Now, I haven't had to carry this through a crisis yet. Hopefully, I don't have to. But it is relatively new. It is crazy powerful. And once you have learned that process, 5 to 20 seconds. So those two, anytime, anywhere, standing, sitting, you could be hanging on your head. You can do these things.
Yeah.
If you were getting called into some, oh my gosh, going to the principal's office meeting, in 5 minutes, you could
Right.
do this in the corner of your classroom. So these are things that will serve you anytime, anywhere. So you get fender bendered on the way to an important appointment. Just fix yourself right there. Snap, you're done. But this awe is the A, it's an acronym for actual awe, attention, giving attention to a personal experience of awe in your life, waiting, and that waiting is just waiting to kind of, connect with that experience again, expand your connection with the feeling of the experience, and then exhale. So there's actually 2 E's, but we're given that double E.
Right.
Um, but when you've got that down, 5 to 20 seconds, that is the ability to bring literal joy on demand to you any time of day, anywhere, even if it's an icky situation.
Yeah. Wow. And you know what? I'm just thinking of all the stressful situations because a lot of people listening are going to be in divorce or, some of them have been in divorce for years.
Yes.
And
Yes.
having that ability, like before you go into the mediation room or when you know you've got to deal with that so-and-so ex-husband or
Yes.
ex-partner, if you can just calm and center yourself, you can respond rather than react. You can walk out of the situation and not feel that stress and that like you're going to be sick because you're so distressed. This is such a gift that you are giving us. Thank you so much, Vivianne. That's really, really
You are
fantastic.
welcome.
That's really fantastic.
The American Psychology Review talked in regard to emotion and decision making that our top priority needs to be controlling our emotional chaos,
Yeah.
because that is the access to be able to utilize your personal problem solving skills.
Right. Right.
In chaos, we are chaotic.
Well,
We
in
it
stress,
challenges our mental faculty.
yeah, and in
Yeah,
stress, you're in your limbic system, and you need to be in your frontal cortex to get any of that executive functioning going on. So yeah, you're right.
exactly.
Yeah,
And the holosync frequencies, what those do is strengthen the executive functions of your brain while calming the areas that are responsible for stress,
right.
procrastination, and impulsive behaviors.
Love this. Love this. I wonder if they're doing, and we're like out of time. I can't believe this because this is
Okay.
so fascinating. But I'm wondering, like, have they thought about using this for kids with attention challenges? Do you know if there's ever?
I don't know offhand, but the book that I point to folks to, and there's a picture of the cover of the book so you can see it. There are multiple books on awe, but the one that is best to go after is The Power of Awe,
Okay.
because those are clinically proven results done during the pandemic. You're not going to find a harder test field than that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm getting the book, and I'm definitely going to read up some more on this. So, thank you for sharing this. I never heard of this before, and I think
I know.
I've been around for a while.
Yes, it is
So,
surprising because I talk about it with Hugo. Say, okay, I guess I have to either speak it and talk about it to more people at a time.
yeah, yeah, and
Wow.
what a gift to be able to give people that in, whether it's 90 seconds or 5 to 20, if you can get yourself in that alignment
Absolutely.
again, that is such a positive experience. Vivianne, thank you so much for sharing this. This is a fantastic conversation.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to be able to bring it to you.
Well, and thank you, and we'll this thank you for being on the YouTube divorce discussions, and we are definitely going to look at having a longer time to discuss this on the podcast.
Very good. Thank you
Thank you
so
so much.
much.
Take care.
It was great, Marty.